Welcome back to the Business of Soul Searching. I'm Erin, your host, and I invite you to join me as I travel from city to city, interviewing people from different walks of life that have faced their fear and came out on the other side. Are you ready for this?
Like I kissed this beautiful,
that I kissed,
confident, yep.
And that hung out with this African American girl that didn't speak Japanese and he didn't speak English, and it was great. And I have lots of like love affairs, and you know, like it's one of my favorite things about travel.
Absolutely. Hello everyone, this is Erin from the Business of Soul Searching podcast. I'm here with my usual mix of soul searching stories and controversy. I have a super special guest here, one of my favorite entrepreneurs, business owners, business tycoons. I mean, I look up to her in regards to business, in regards to her as a person on social media, as an advocate, so she is the CEO of T Barnes Beauty LLC, which is a lifestyle brand. T Barnes Beauty offers organic skincare products, bath and body, as well as soy candles. And T Barnes also ventured into fashion in 2015, traveling all over the world to Ghana, Morocco, Bali, and Vietnam, and more. And that led her really to why we're here today. So for people that are familiar with my podcast, you guys, I know I always push people, travel. I always hashtag go global. There's so many things out there for you all to learn. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome T Barnes from T Barnes Beauty.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. So we are actually here in Barbados. So this is a super special episode. I've been here for a few days, guys, and I guess let's just kind of jump into it. So Before we were talking about how you started with a clothing line, which is gorgeous. People have seen on my Instagram, me kind of just posting up different amazingly well done dresses and all different types of fashion wear, and that kind of led you to travel as well. But what led you to want to open up a property in Barbados?
Well, I don't know that one led to the other. So I've been traveling since I was 16. So I've been traveling for a very long time, and I know it changes you. I know that I've grown and developed as a person because of it. And when I started manufacturing overseas and my clients were interested in traveling to some of the places that I was traveling to, I was like, okay, I can do that.
If that's what people want.
And that's what people want. And one trip has led to an entirely new business, which I didn't expect at all. And so the main course of T Barnes Global Travel, which is the other part of T Barnes Beauty, is really about creating trips and experiences off the beaten path, things that you wouldn't necessarily do if you were just on vacation by yourself. It really is about creating an overall experience for people. And so with Space, this really opened up because I do have a clientele. My trips are $2,500 to $3,500 a piece, which is still relatively inexpensive trips.
It's well worth it.
But I give a lot. We do, the flights are included, a lot of the food is included, and we stay at amazing properties.
Yes, which I can attest to, because I went on the Bali trip, and you just have to be there. You have to go and physically see it to understand.
And so we have great deals for the price range that the trips are. But I do know that there is this whole other community of travelers, or would-be travelers, if they could just afford it. And I'm sensitive to that because for me, this is, it's not a business in the same way that T Barnes Beauty is. It really, and I guess even T Barnes Beauty, it's a movement to me. It's political. I need people to move around the world and to travel and to feel that kind of freedom. And so Space was an idea that I came up with pretty much in February, and by April we were opening the first house. And really I have a beautiful set of friendships all around the Caribbean, and a lot of these women and men have homesteads. So they have properties that their grandparents left them, that their parents left them, and they live in the US or they live in the UK, and there's nothing that they can do with the properties.
Yeah.
And so we came in, a girlfriend of mine who's a doctor from Barbados. She'll kill me if I say this, but she was actually Miss Barbados.
Oh, really?
1 year. I don't know which year, so I won't even say it because then everybody will look it up. And then she'll be really, really mad at me.
Yeah.
But so she, inherited a house, and I pretty much came in and I said, well, okay, let me take it. Let me do something with it.
Yeah.
And space is really a property. It is a movement and a collective of people. What I want is for people to see that we have people opening up these homesteads to us as a community, as a T Barnes community, as a global travel community.
Yeah.
And they're opening up their homesteads, and I come in and I kind of like gut it out, redecorate it to meet the standard for rental. And with this house in Barbados, we gutted out the bathroom. A lot of the furniture her father had built, so it was beautiful. And I have a fashion designer friend, Lisa, who's amazing, and she redid all of the pillows for me. I brought in the fabric. So, we were able to like really remake this into what I call a bungalow. I feel like it has a LA bungalow feel. And space, the idea of it is that every place we open a space property, you can rent the property for $500 for the week. And most of them have multiple bedrooms. So if you think about it, like an average trip to the Caribbean is $400 by plane. And then if you have 3 friends and you divide $500 by 3 friends, you're really able to afford travel in a different way. This isn't a villa, right? But it's clean, it's freshly painted, and it's, well decorated, and it's comfortable, and it allows you to just get away. And I think that a lot of people need accessible spaces to recover themselves.
Definitely.
And so that's what space is.
Yes, to take space.
To take space.
Like to take space for yourself, to go somewhere to recharge and just kind of just get back to you, really.
Exactly.
And so let's go back a little bit. So something that, because I've been following you for a while, we've known each other I think since 2016. Time flies. Which I've loved every second of it.
And I'm very proud of you. Yes. I've watched your development. It's amazing.
Along, brick by brick. So my thing is that what I've seen from you, a lot of the things that you build off of is relationships. And so I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that, but I think that that's important, because it's not like this property came out of nowhere and you're just like, oh, I looked up and like there's a lot of building and, just relationship building in business. And a lot of times people forget that. They want to just move and make money, and that's their focus versus making long-term connections. So how do you do that?
I mean, for me, I'm old school when it comes to this. I really came out of the hip hop industry. And honestly, hip hop taught me almost everything I know. I worked for Def Jam. I didn't know anything about hip hop. I was thrown into the dungeon with all these young urban men that I wouldn't have had access to really growing up. And I saw a hustle that I had never really experienced before. And in that, I learned that cultural capital is more important than capital. And cultural capital you get through education. I always tell people, you might not use your degree, but you'll use it in cultural capital. It will pay off in other ways because you can be a part of the conversation, right? So that's one part of it. And then the other part of it is understanding that the relationships that you build. So when I remember starting out at Def Jam, I was an intern.
Microwave if you want the long term.
No, and this is business in general it is not a sprint, and it is a long, hard journey. I've been doing this. I started my first business at 17. I'm 42. So it's been a long time.
Definitely.
And I've had to really learn things from scratch. Like I didn't have entrepreneurs in my family.
Yeah.
I had successful people in my family, but not entrepreneurs. And so I've really had to figure this out. And what I know is that the relationships that I build along the way is really what sustains me and allows me to do things and offer experiences to people that most people can't.
Yeah.
You know, they're not engaging in that way. And, you know, also I do travel different, even with my business. I always pre-travel. I always tell people I don't do box trips. I'm not looking on the internet for where you're going to stay we're seeing it for the first time together. I never do that. I'm looking at mattresses. I'm looking for bed bugs. I'm there in that country building relationships. The staff knows me at a hotel. You know, they know me before you ever come. And I'm kind and fair and honest with them and hopefully generous and thoughtful. And so when my people come, it changes the experience because most people want to please you. You know, and so that's the relationships that I've built all over the world now. I mean, it's really amazing, you know.
It is.
Even just to be here in Barbados, to come because I have 3 girlfriends that I met through another friend who was a teacher, and I was studying at UE, right? And one of the related girls' daughters here to even babysit my baby. You know, this is like, I don't even think did I have a baby? I don't even know if I had a baby. Yeah, I did. I have a baby.
Back
I think
when
I
you
came.
met.
Yeah, when I went to UE, I did. But like, you know, here we are. She's grown. My kid is 11. You know, when we met, I'm sure she was like 2 years old. But because of that, I can walk into a country and I can say, okay, can you cover up these things for me? And I have someone to do that. You know, it is these long-term relationships and supporting each other along your journey is really what builds
who carries you
this type of business. You know, service. And I love service.
Yeah,
I do. I think that it's an honor to serve people, and it feels good to me. And I always say, like, a lot of what I see when I'm traveling in Black nations is that we confuse servitude for service.
Yeah,
you know, we think that they're the same, and they aren't. You know, service is really, it's an honor to serve people and to do what you do well, you know, as to the best possible level that you can do it. And in return, there's so much pride in, I love watching the event fall out, you know, or seeing people having a good time in a country. So service, I think, is the other part of that.
And I like that about obviously I went, you know, to Bali with you, so I got to just see everything and see everyone's experiences and, you know, my own as well. And being here, you know, in Barbados, just coming back from, you know, the brunch and just seeing everything just roll out. And I was like, if I were to go on Groupon and to look something up, which people try and sell you, and you're like, okay, it's quick, it's cheap, it's easy. Me and my friends will be able to afford it because people don't like to travel alone. Some people don't like to travel alone. And it's not going to be anything like this because, like you said, you do the research ahead of time. You invest in the beginning, and then as it rolls out, you already know pretty much what's going to happen. Things come up, you know, things like flights and all different types of, you know. But yeah, so I think that's one of my favorite things, and I like that you value service so much. Like, I've never met someone that even explains service like that.
I think it's a self-esteem. When you care about yourself and when you know yourself, when you feel worthy, when you feel solid, I feel really solid in who I am now. And that allows you to serve people because it doesn't demean me to serve people, you know, because I know me. And I think that when people are still not feeling quite
100%
strong in themselves, service feels different to them because it feels like, oh, I'm bowing down to someone. No, you're you're doing what you do.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
anything is a service, no matter what
Definitely.
you do. If you're a singer, you're offering a service of music to people's lives. Anything that you do is service. And when you feel good about you, you'll do the best service. You'll offer it, you know, in the best way that you can.
Yeah. And I kind of liken that to love. Like I'll make posts that I do things with love. I don't do things to manipulate people, or that business to me is about just numbers and crunching numbers. There's a piece of it that to sustain things. However, it's to inspire other people so that, because I know that I want to live my best life and I want other people to. So it kind of reminds me of, like how you're describing, kind of reminds me of doing things in love and in appreciation and from an honest place.
Yeah, and you know what? People won't always feel you on that. They won't always understand why you do the things that you do.
Yeah.
I mean, space as an entity, I mean, $500 a week is it's not a lot of money.
Come on.
You know, like I just want to be clear.
Yeah.
It's a movement, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with saying this is a project that I'm doing because I have a political goal, and my political goal is for Black people to travel the world, and for anybody to travel realistically if that wants to use space. But particularly, I have a mission for Black people to travel, and if I want to do that well, then I need to be able to do that at every level, and I understand that everyone can't hit that $2,500, $3,500 price range. And so I need to be able to develop something at a price range that most people can hit.
Yeah.
And so that, you know, is why I do it. And at the end of the day, it will always have some kind of profit margin.
Yeah.
And whatever it is, it's good for me. You know, it's good for me. I'm motivated by my desire for us to grow as humans. And because I love what I do, I make money at it. And most of this is out of my imagination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is beautiful.
And I get it. I think you got to push past that fear.
Definitely.
You know, the reality is that human beings move. like we've never been a stagnant.
That's true. From where we started, we were.
Like we started in Africa. You know, the Ice Age comes and people start moving, and it's important. And I think a lot of what I try to tell people are like these borders. This is a new concept. Like this is just the past, 5-6 centuries that we've created borders, and they're fake. It's not real. It's just an idea. And nation states are just an idea. You know, we've always had communities of people, but human beings have always moved. They move when there's no food. You know, they move when they need new opportunities. They move for love. You know, people, cross tribes, fall in love, and they build families together. So moving is essential to humanity. And I think that what happens is as you move, as you experience other cultures and other people, your understanding becomes so much more expansive. And you start to realize you have very little understanding of it.
I know I did. Even just how we were talking about driving on which side of the road and just something like that or anything. It's like you think it's just, it changes you.
It does. And for the better. I think that I have grown tremendously from the relationships that people have given me, it's been a gift around the world. I feel like I'm in a country where I, as a Black American, live on the periphery of my own nation. And the world has embraced me. And it makes you feel a little less lost and a little less like you don't have a place in the world. And I feel like I have a place everywhere in the world because I've never gone to a country where people didn't try to love me. And accept me and bring me in to the fold. I've never experienced that anywhere that I've traveled. And I think for African American people that struggle with their space in their own nation and feeling like such an outsider in their own nation, the world, once you become global, like the world opens up its love and its healing.
Yeah. And I completely agree. You know, as also a Black American, I feel like you kind of, or at least I'll speak for myself, I won't speak for anybody else, but a lot of times in America, I feel kind of just like this person that people, I don't fit in anywhere, similar to kind of what you were saying, that everybody's kind of like, you're African American, but you're not African enough, but you're not American enough, but you're not, the way you talk and, you know, all of that. So it's just, traveling is nice. I think my favorite part, I like getting lost. I like getting, well, not lost, because then my anxiety goes crazy, but I like learning things. I like that almost insecure feeling that I have, that I don't know, you know, what's going on. And I have to ask questions and I have to ask people kind of, I like someone educating me on something, you know, and then coming back and being like, okay, just because someone's speaking a different language around you doesn't mean they're talking about you. For example, that's super popular in America. They started speaking another language around me, so that must mean they're talking about me. Not necessarily. And some people are like, well, we just can't translate, like it doesn't translate the same way. It will sound ridiculous if I say that.
Just learn their language.
Yeah, exactly. They just kind of were talking to themselves. You don't have to be included in everything. But, so anyways, to go back to space, so what do you think is the most healing part about Barbados and just this culture, this area?
You know, Barbados is a community. I will say that. I think that every country that you go to is layered. Every country has problems and issues. And I see those clearly moving around me in Barbados.
Definitely.
But what I also see are a community of people that care about each other, even when they think they don't. They argue a lot. They have a lot of ideas about properness, and they're very conservative, and then not really too conservative.
Yeah,
you know,
which is the under, like you said,
very
layers.
funny place. But I feel safe here. I feel like that you can have your family in Barbados, and you're gonna be okay here.
Yeah.
I feel like people are kind, you know, and I mean, the beaches are beautiful.
Come on now.
Yeah. I mean, the beaches are beautiful. And you know what? Barbados as a country has a lot to do. You know, there are, there's a lot of activities where, I've been in Anguilla, which is a much smaller island, they don't have water sports. They don't have some of these other things. So I think there's lots of things to do here. And if you're a traveler and you want to dig deeper, there's a whole beautiful world. I mean, the art world here alone is amazing.
Yes.
You know, and
I will definitely attest to that. Just a little piece I saw. I didn't even see really too much, but it's gorgeous.
Yeah, the beautiful work. And I just, I think at the end of the day, it's just, there's something about islands in general. They're small. People can be closed on some level, but their hearts aren't. And I think that matters, So Barbados is a special place, and I enjoyed studying here. I enjoyed being here, even with all the layers and even with all the stuff.
Yeah, that comes with it.
As in any place in the world that you are.
Yeah. And
because there's humans there.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And that is something that it's hard for me to explain to people when I'm like, this is when people are like, oh, how was your trip? And I just encourage people to go, but it's hard to explain. Like for me, it's a vibe. It's like I feel good. I feel, like you said, safe and comfortable, and my soul feels good when I'm in this country, or I'm with this person, or I'm around these people, and I'm going to go back because I like that feeling so much. But anyways, so, I definitely want to wrap up on a note like travel stories. I know you've traveled and traveled, but I am curious to know, what is one of your favorite travel stories?
I know. I have so many travel stories.
Yep.
One travel story that I was thinking about the other day, when I was living in Italy, and this is before I met my ex-husband, all right? Nobody was cheating on you.
Everyone thinks that's like last month. It's
Just
like we're, yeah.
And I was running around Florence, and I met this Japanese guy. And I swear, like, this man did not speak English. And I say, man, we were young. We were kids at that point. I think, I don't know how old I was at that point in Italy, maybe 19. And he was beautiful, fine.
Just
child. He was fine. He was fine. We were just instantly connected. I have no idea till this day how we communicated. But that day, he was leaving the next day, and we spent the entire day together running around Italy and running around Florence. We had gelato and dinner and pasta, and we sat on the Duomo steps, and I mean, just this entire day with another person from another country, and we didn't share a language. And it was beautiful. You know, and I remember we were like on the Duomo steps, and I have one picture of him. I'll find it one day too. It's like, I know where it is. And we kissed, and I never talked to him again. Like, it was just the sweetest thing. It was just one of those adventures that you'll never ever get back.
Like, I kissed this amazingly beautiful,
that I kissed,
confident,
and that hung out with this African American girl that didn't speak Japanese, and he didn't speak English, and it was great. And I have lots of like love affairs, and you know, like it's one of my favorite things about travel.
Absolutely. And just and that's what's so beautiful about travel. Like, you'll forget about something, and then all of a sudden it kind of just comes up, or you'll see like a flash of light or a certain color, or you'll meet someone and it'll remind you, and you'll just go back. But, you know, with all of this, I really just encourage people to travel, you know, whatever kind of fits into your expenses or your imagination, because we're creative people, so we can make money, work, and move the way that we want it to. Well, actually, why don't you let them know how they can, if they want to check out Space Barbados, where they can look it up online.
So Space has a website. It's www.spaceprojectbytbarnes.com. It's long. I got hacked. It's a long story. www.spaceprojectbytbarnes.com. And right now the Barbados property is there. As we get more homes, starting next year, we'll start to add more homes to it. You can check out the availability. You can look at, you know, the property itself. All of the pertinent information is there, the contract. You know, I talk to people like this. These are people opening up their homes to us, and we have to think about ourselves within the Space Project as a community. And the same way that people are loving us by opening up these homesteads, that we love it back by taking care of the properties.
Definitely.
And that we, you know, if you allow me, if you keep our spaces right and you keep the owners happy, right?
Definitely.
And not mad at me.
Respectful, like.
Well, what it allows is for me to keep doing this and keep offering up more space all over the world. And that's the goal, is to really start to push it out, you know, into Africa, into Asia, so that space properties are really everywhere, and that all you have to do is say, I have to go, and you know that there's a space property for $500 for the week somewhere.
And for you, you know, for you to go, like a place that, a place and a space that you can go and that you can just be you, whether it's with your friends or couples or however you kind of want to divvy up the space. It's like you can go and really, I mean, there's a lot of connections that you have out here and just awesome parts to the trip that you can partake in, but make your trip yours. Like if you know, you can partake in a few things, you can add on different things if you're interested in, you know, the things that are around here in Barbados. Because
we do have group package. Yeah, we have group packages.
Yeah.
So in addition to the $500, so if you want to come and have a simple vacation and spend very little money, you could do that. We have a $250 week a package for a car service. It is very expensive to take taxis in Barbados, so driving, if you can do so, is suggested. We also have a $500 add-on package, which includes it's a weekend package, so people that are just coming up for the weekend that want a private cook to come in and do a dinner for them. I have these T Barnes dinners that I do, and an amazing chef that will come into the house. It also offers you some transportation and some extra maid service. I can't remember exactly what's in that package. And there's another $700 package. So even the idea of these packages where you get airport pickup and drop off, you have a T Barnes private dinner and a chef. You have maid service every day. So there's if you can upgrade it to what you want.
Definitely.
And but you keep it as low as what you want to.
Exactly.
And those different packages are under upgrades on the website, so you can see what else you can add on to the trip. And then we could also do private excursions. So I plan private excursions for groups. Like we did today,
which
with
I
the
love.
brunch. Yes. And so those are all upgrades, but they're all available.
And worth it, like I said. And this is me. I am speaking on kind of my platform, and I'm telling you, I would never intentionally lead people down a wrong path. If I've lived through it and I'm saying that you should go, I mean it from the bottom of my heart. So unfortunately we have to wrap up, but you had left your information, and if you guys like the types of conversation that we had today, you all can find me on Instagram at Business of Soul, Facebook, The Business of Soul Searching, and on Twitter, Business of Soul 9, which I'm usually going off about some political topic or something that I don't agree with, or maybe I do agree with. So yeah, thank you so much for coming on and inviting me into this amazing space and just creating this for people to be able to come and relax and recharge.
I'm excited for the partnerships that we've had, and I know you're going to be doing your own things in space.
Thank you for listening to another episode of The Business of Soul Searching. If you have any exciting soul searching stories, please email them to thebusinessofsoulsearching@gmail.com for a possible shout out in next week's episode. Most importantly, take a calculated risk this week. Don't do it for me, do it for you.